Thank you for joining us this evening. I know we are all zoomed out, but this is a great opportunity for us to see each other's faces and to really have the work that Rose and Bridget and Lizette and I all do come to life by seeing your faces. So thank you for being here. So I want to start with just a little bit of background on Richie Spirit Foundation. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jordan Herskowitz, and I'm the executive director of Richie Spirit Foundation. Our mission is to promote organ donation to people of all ages. And we do that through programs and events around the country year round. We also have scholarships and grants that we give out. We have an annual college scholarship. We have transplant assistance grants. And for the last number of years, we've been a sponsor of the Transplant Games of America. So why the Transplant Games and why Richie Spirit Foundation? So my younger brother, Richie, was born with cystic fibrosis. It was a very severe case. And when he was 5 years old, the doctors told my family that Richie would not live past his 8th birthday without a double lung transplant. This was back in the mid-90s, and transplantation of any kind on children was not common. Richie ended up going on the wait list. My mom and he moved up to St. Louis, Missouri from Dallas, Texas, and it was a waiting game. 3 months later, Richie was a match to an organ donor where he got 2 new lungs, and the transplant was very successful. Overnight, Richie became a new person. He could run around, play sports, eat a full meal without digesting it. And it changed his life, it changed mine, and so many people who knew him, some of whom you're going to hear from in just a few minutes. Unfortunately, about 11 years later, Richie had complications with some of the medicines and he ended up passing away. But we like to look at the time that Richie was alive because of this incredible double lung transplant. Richie loved sports, and for much of his life, he was physically unable to participate in sports, but he was the manager of his high school basketball team. He led a very intricate fantasy football league, and he could talk to any sport to anyone, any time of day. So we've really felt like the Transplant Games of America is a wonderful tribute to Richie, to one of his passions. And it's so special to me and my family and all of our donors and supporters of RSF that we're able to, every other year when the Transplant Games take place, sponsor athletes who embody characteristics of Richie: perseverance, resilience through very difficult times. And the joy of the Transplant Games is that we're able to see that even with transplant, recipients are able to live a full life and they're able to be active and citizens of their communities in ways that give back year after year. So we feel so privileged to once again be a sponsor for the Transplant Games of America. As we all know, this year looks a little bit differently since it is a virtual experience. You can't see it, but I'm on my treadmill right now participating in the 5K. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to Rose Shapiro, our foundation coordinator, who's going to share a little bit more about the next steps of our program. Rose?
Yes, to get us started, I'm going to pass it off to Chris Fisher to introduce our first athlete.
Thanks, Rose, and thank you, Jordan, for your leadership in Richie Spirit. We are so thrilled to continue to be part of the foundation and get to witness the great work you all do. I am honored to be asked to introduce Rick Daynes, who is an athlete from San Diego, California. He is representing Team SoCal in the 2020 Transplant Games of America. So Rick donated a kidney back in 2018 to a stranger, a young mother of 4, which is just incredible. And Rick has actually participated in every event except one at this year's Transplant Games, and we are all thrilled to be celebrating him here today. Without further ado, I'll pass it to Rick to share more about his participation and his connection to organ donation. Rick?
Thanks, Chris. So I did every event, and I just wanted to. I've never participated in the Transplant Games. This was my first one. The last Transplant Games happened actually the week that I donated. So this was my first one I was eligible for, and I wanted to do it because I wanted to rub shoulders with everybody, and I wanted to hear stories and be inspired, like the story of Richie. I mean, that is just awesome. And anytime I hear a story like that, man, I just tingle all over. But I did every event. Because there's this thing that happened the last year, COVID, and I gained like 12 pounds. So I'm like, man, I got to get out and I got to do stuff. And so they're like, so I did everything. I did every swimming event, every running event. I even did Lyrics for Life. And the one event was ballroom dance. I just couldn't find a partner. Like, my wife wouldn't dance with me, my little girl. I was just going to dance by myself and submit the video. And I didn't even register for these events. Like, I'm sure at Transplant Games of America, they're just going nuts. Like, who is this guy? He's not even registered for these. I just kept submitting stuff. But for me, I just wanted to get involved. I wanted to hear the stories, like the story of Richie, and I just wanted to get out. Like, I just got to get out, right? This whole COVID year is just, it was difficult. And for me, organ donation, what I want everyone to know is that, you don't have to know the person you're giving to. My sister-in-law knew some lady who needed one, and I said, put me on the list. And she was 1,000 miles away. I was in another state. And when the transplant center called me 6 months later, I didn't have a clue what they were talking about. But then, after she like reminded me, you're on this list, and sure enough, I just went in, and I was a donor, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I mean, I know her now. I know the whole family. We're good friends. But it's been a huge blessing for me, and I just don't know why more people do it, I guess. Okay, my favorite event was probably the Lyrics for Life. I wasn't registered for that, but all you need is a karaoke machine, and so I was just like, somebody play something and record me, and so I just rocked out for a couple of minutes. I think it was a 2-minute submission. Like, you got to, so I'm like, I'm just going to rock out for 2 minutes, and then we're going to submit this. And that was probably my funnest, because it involved other people, and we were just laughing, and I was horrible.
Which Kelly Clarkson song did you sing?
It was the one that Kelly Clarkson did. She did when, what's that movie that came out? With The Greatest Entertainer, The Greatest Showman. So Kelly Clarkson did On My Own or Only, or I don't know. And so I just put that baby up and felt inspired, and that's what I rocked.
That is so awesome. I'm sure we're all wishing to watch that right now. I think I can speak for everyone. And it's really great, Rick, that you were able to find connection and activity after this whole year. And thanks for sharing your story and enthusiasm with us. I'm really excited to be introducing Lauren Mortenson from Edison, New Jersey, my home state, representing Team Liberty in biking, track, and swimming this year. And when Lauren learned her uncle needed a kidney transplant in 2017, she was determined to become a donor. She even joined the donor exchange program, through which she donated her left kidney to a stranger so that someone else could donate their kidney to her uncle. I think it was 32 donors, 32 recipients long, but please correct me if I'm incorrect, Lauren. So I'm delighted to introduce Lauren, and to celebrate her today, I will pass it to you now.
Thank you, Rose. You're correct. Our chain is actually the longest single hospital kidney transplant chain in the nation. So it was definitely something that I didn't expect going into the donor process. My uncle actually said no when I came and offered to be a donor for him. We actually weren't on speaking terms at the time. So my stubbornness really led me to really fight to be his donor. And luckily it worked out in a way I never would have expected it to. But through this whole journey, the people that I've met and the stories that I've heard from other donors and other transplant recipients in my chain and from Team Liberty have been so inspirational. And it's why I really wanted to compete in the games this year. I love that they're here in New Jersey and that I can rep my home state. But also as a kid, I was severely overweight. I've lost about 120 pounds overall in the last 10, 11 years. So the athletic piece has really come into my later adult life. So being that I'm able to, and the competition I kind of have in my spirit, I wanted to represent in a way that shows that I can do the same things that somebody with 2 kidneys can do. And sometimes even better than I could have done, when I had 2 kidneys. And I'm actually going to be at the games Friday and Saturday, Sunday possibly as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing more stories from other people and sharing my story with others as well, and hopefully inspiring others to donate and see that they can live a normal and healthy life after donating. My favorite out of the 3 different events that I did was probably the biking. I hadn't been on a bike in probably a good 15 years. And my uncle, who I donated for, bought me a new bike a few months ago. And I did the 12 miles on the bike, really my first ride. And I loved it, all except for going over this big bridge that I was trying my hardest to haul up and switch my gears. It was definitely a challenge, but I made it over both ways. And I just loved the feeling of doing it with a purpose, that it was to raise awareness. And for people like Richie who are waiting for this life-saving transplant, that there are good people out there to help with it.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Lauren. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting that you got back on a bike for the first time in so long. And then it was your favorite, and you obviously did an excellent job, and we're really excited to.
Well, I hate running. So I originally signed up for the virtual triathlon. So I still wanted to do all the components, even though that wasn't the actual event anymore. So I went with each piece of it, and I hated the running, but I wanted to still be able to do it.
Yeah. So it's easy to beat running with biking, but
yeah,
I feel the same. Well, thank you so much. And I'm really thrilled to now be able to pass it to Daniella Nordin to introduce our next athlete.
Hi, everyone. I too hate running. Just want the record to show that. I'm really excited to introduce Edith Navarro, who's representing Team Hawaii, if you couldn't tell by the lovely flower in her hair. She is participating in cycling, singles bowling, track, and the 5K run. So Edith, if you hate running, I feel very bad for you as you compete in those 2 events. Good luck. I believe, Edith, you donated your kidney to your husband, who made a guest appearance earlier today. We'll see if he feels like, saying hello again in a minute. But a few years later, I know your son unexpectedly passed away, and you and your husband made the decision to pass the spirit by donating his organs as well. So we're honored to celebrate Edith as a member of Team Richie, and I invite you, Edith, to tell us a little bit more about yourself.
First of all, I want to thank Team Richie for the grant and for putting on this program. It's, for me, I think it's amazing. Organ donation is so wonderful. I cannot imagine how people, I know a lot of people that don't want to donate. their loved ones' organs. And for me, it wasn't anything to think about because I did it for my husband, and I seen how excited he was when when he was going to have this gift from me. And so we decided to go on our journey with the exercise. I played a lot of sports before, and so running, I did love running, but I'm 68 now, and it's not one of my favorite sports I want to do now because after COVID, I've been having all kinds of joint problems, and but I did love it, and I played a lot of softball, bowling, volleyball. So I'm actually was a sports player before I got to all the games. I love the first time we went to the games. It was so heartfelt when I heard everybody's stories, and I mean, they share me as a hero, and I said, no, I'm not a hero. I just was doing something great for my partner, my best friend, and he almost didn't let me give him this one gift that I wanted to give him. They didn't want the kids to also, but all I needed to know was from the doctors was if I can live long on this one kidney, then I was going to do it. And he told me, you're healthy enough, you can do whatever you want to do. And so that's why I started that. So September 23rd, 2009, that when our journey started. And we've been best friends ever since until my son had a brain aneurysm. And he was in a coma, so I had no way of communicating with him, but I did talk with him anyway. And I didn't want to just let him go because there's a lot of people that can do studies on organs and disease and all kind of things. So the lady approached me from A Legacy of Life, and I said, you know what? I said, I know what you're gonna ask me. And I said, if my son is able to, I said, I will want them to do that. And so she called me and she said, okay, we can do it. So his kidneys went to two people in New York. And I've never met these people yet, but I've heard from a social worker that she found where they work. And so she let us know that they're still going. And I was just so happy because at least now my son is living through someone else's eyes. And so when she told me about that, it kind of gave me a little closure that these people are still around. And so, but that's my whole point of these games. And I have a lot of favorite sports, but just like somebody said about riding a bike, I have never rode a bike for maybe 30 years. I haven't rode a bike. And then my husband says, we're going to do the bike ride at 5K. And I was like, what? I said, I've never gotten back on a bike. So he says, well, we're going to do it today. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, can I get a trial run before I crash my bike? So we rode in a parking lot for a little bit. And then I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. And so we did the bike ride, but my track and field is what I like to do. So speed walking is one of our favorite that we do every morning. We still do. I go to this resort, Colina, and we walk there every morning. So my husband does his speed walk and I do my own speed walk, and we meet a lot of people. And so we talk to a lot of people about our transplant that we both had. And then someone actually told us about the games, and that's how we all got started to the transplant games. And so I was really happy that we could do all of this. And what else? Okay.
I wanted to say something about my wife. We've been to 4 transplant games. She averages 5 gold medals, mainly in the track and field. And this year's new format was the only year that I could get as many medals as her, because we were limited to the sports that we could do and the amount of medals we could do. So I controlled everything. So I'm getting as many gold medals as she is this transplant game. So that's about the only thing that's really good about this virtual transplant game. But I'm very grateful that I received her kidney, and our life has been wonderful ever since our transplant. And I thank the Richie Foundation again for inspiring people and teaching people that organ transplantation is very important, and we can all have a hand in it. And we're all getting ready for Transplant Games 2022 in San Diego. So we'll see all of you there. Hopefully we'll get to meet you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you both. So well said. Thank you for speaking beautifully about your experiences and your passion. And we really appreciate it. I know everyone I can see on the call is grateful for your words. And I'm glad that everyone's getting the medals they deserve this year. Some overdue, but I will now pass it to Bridget Yule to introduce our next athlete. Thanks.
Thank you. I am very excited to introduce Kai Ramos. He joins us from Southampton, Massachusetts, and is representing Team New England in track and field. He received a kidney transplant from his mother, Mindy, who's also on the call, 18 years ago, and has since been an advocate for organ donation. Kai is about to start his sophomore year of college, and I'm very excited to welcome Kai to speak and to celebrate him here today.
Why I'm participating in the transplant games, I mean, but minus the fact that I have a transplant and that I enjoy sports, I just think it's an awesome way just to connect with people. And I think that the transplants that we have is like just bonds, can create bonds that can't be broken. And I think that's what's so special about transplants and the transplant games, is just being around all those people who have been through likewise situations as you, and all doing fun stuff together, like sports and stuff like that. Like, that's fun to me. And I want to like spread donation because I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't really prepared to present or anything. I mean, I just want to like I just love like advocating for especially younger kids who are going through this kind of stuff. I hope that someday I can be there for the younger generation who is going through all this kind of stuff, and hopefully have them build like stepping stones in the future for them, so that they can walk a smoother path through whatever like transition that they're going through, whether it's the transplant, dialysis, or you name it, whatever they're going through. Hopefully it's just an easier process, and I hope that I can do better and hope that they can do like all that stuff for them. I wish more people knew about organ donation, because it actually, lack of a better words, it really gives a whole new meaning to the word unsung heroes, especially the recipients. And that's definitely what I think about of my mom when I think of unsung heroes, because it's, you would look at her and you'd think that we'd just be normal, but she really gave me life and a whole new meaning, and I'm always grateful for that. And you know, I think real heroes are the ones that do things and are the ones that don't get attention for it, and the ones that are just do unnoticeable things, but you wouldn't notice. And I think those are what true heroes are, and I think that my mom resembles that almost to the point, to the fine point. and I'm really grateful that she's in my life, and I'm really grateful that everyone here is being able to share like the same story and stuff like that. And just hearing everyone's story is just amazing. Like people giving kidneys to strangers, it's like, that baffles me. That's amazing. That's awesome. Like it gives me like hope that there's still good out in the world, and makes me feel a lot better about myself. What event was my favorite? It was track and field. I love running. I'm a sprinter. I love running. I love doing that stuff. I'm sorry. I know people are shaking their head. I love that stuff. I'm a runner. It's not long distance though. Not long distance. I'm only a sprinter. I can't. My mom too though. Mom too. So it's not just me. My mom has been. She can run. She's a track star. All right. She is a track star. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I can't wait to hear the rest of everyone's stories.
Thank you, Kai. Yeah, definitely an unpopular opinion here, but we're glad that you enjoy it and you get to do what you love, and appreciate your work paving that path for others. And Mindy, if you would like to share anything, no pressure, but would love to give you that opportunity to say a few
she
words.
has to. If I had to talk, she has to talk too.
All right, you have to, apparently.
All right, I guess I'll speak up. I just wanted to thank everybody for being here today as well too, and stepping outside of our comfort zones. I'm sure it's unfortunate that we weren't able to all be together in New Jersey. We were really looking forward to that 2 years ago, and then hoping for this year. But Kai and I and his dad Rudy are really looking forward to our trip to San Diego next year. So we're going to keep training. We're going to train train a little bit more consistently for the games for San Diego. We just decided to do the transplant games together because it was something fun and good for us, and something that we could bond with. We had met Kai has lots of friends, transplant friends, from a camp that he goes to in Maine called Camp Sunshine, which is in Maine, I think I just said. And we were all kind of hoping to have gathered and connected at the games there. So it was kind of started as like a bonding thing for the teens and the kids and the young kids. I think that's why Kai was talking a lot about his friends and bonding and connecting as well, because we really know that although this journey was hard for all of us, the silver lining to it is that it brought us together with some really amazing people. Kai's been able to meet kids his age and younger that have gone through very similar health issues, chronic health issues, and or transplants. And we've been able to meet recipients and also donors in lots of different genres of the process. And we are just so grateful that we've been able to meet such kind, selfless people in the world. And it's really a nice lesson that you can't learn from schools and books and things like that. You just really have to be in it. So that's our silver lining to this whole process. And for me, I feel kind of silly because I'm like, I gave my kidney to my son, of course, like who wouldn't do that? I was just grateful that I was able to be a match. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for those who are on the list now, because we all know that there's lots of people that are waiting, and people are waiting for more than one organ and maybe have to do it again. So I appreciate that. And we're going to keep spreading organ donation awareness until we can't do it any longer. And, I don't know how well the rest of my organs will be by the time I pass, but that is definitely Kai and I are both, and his dad are all organ donors. So when we pass, that too will go with us. But I just wanted to thank everybody. I did want to say that I do hate running, definitely hate running. My training shirt says I love running, and on the bottom it says when I'm done. But I wanted to do something to step outside of our comfort level zone and just train together to be something silly that we could do together, fun and encouraging. So next year I'm really going to try to run more than 100 meters, because that's all I ran.
She's good at it though.
But we did like to sprint.
She's not bad.
So thank you for letting me ramble, but I appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much for speaking on the spot. It's really special to be able to hear from you as well. And Yeah, very great, well articulated. And now I will pass it to Lauren Chinisci for to introduce our final athlete this evening.
Hi all, my name is Lauren Chinisci and I am Jordan and Richie's cousin. So this event is very near and dear to my heart, as is the foundation. And I just want to say thank you to all of the donors and recipients and everyone joining the call tonight. It's really incredible to hear each and everyone's story, and they're all very impactful in their own way and are really inspiring. So thank you. And I am not a runner or a biker, so that is also very inspiring. You will not catch me participating, but I will be there cheering. So it is my honor to introduce Sue Rudolph. Sue is from Huntington Beach, California, and is another member of Team SoCal. Here now to speak live from the Maldives. Sue, if we can hear you over the ocean, we can't wait.
I'm a liver transplant recipient, and I was diagnosed in 2003 with cirrhosis of the liver. It turns out I have a immune disorder, which was eating away at my liver, and I end up put on the transplant list. At that time, I've been a competitive runner for many years, and I run like a lot of started 5 10Ks and did a lot of ultra runs. So running, I love running. So anyway, and I was involved while I was on the transplant list. Every year I competed in a relay with Organs Are Us up in Northern California that raises money to raise awareness about organ donation. And I was very involved with them. And I'd go and help work out at their booths. And while I was on the list, I found out that they had games internationally where you could compete. And so when I had my transplant, I looked it up while I was in the hospital, and I found out they were having World Games in Malaga. So I told my doctors at that time that I was going to be competing in the World Games in Malaga. So I did, and I mean, it was just very exciting for me to be with other people that had been through what I've been through and meet so many people, and it was just an incredible experience. I hadn't known anybody that had received an organ. So, you know, to meet other people and interact with them and be able to promote organ donation there was just incredible. And I ran and cycled and swam and did the triathlon. I didn't expect any medals for sure. I was like thinking there were going to be like a Olympic caliber athletes there. So I was really shocked that I ended up coming home with like 5 or 6 medals. And then there I found out there were actually games in the US. And so I definitely signed up for Salt Lake City and went there. And then I went to Newcastle and did the World Games there. And so it was just natural that I wanted to compete in the games here. And I did all the running, all the cycling, all the track events and the swimming events. And I did the poker, although I didn't do well in the poker. That was my first time playing poker, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I lost my money right away. So, but it's really important for me to promote organ donation so that other people can, benefit from it the way I did. I mean, it's just totally changed my life. I was pretty stable from 2003 up to 2014, and then I got liver cancer. So after that, I was bumped up on the list and had it's 5 years. Yesterday was my 5-year anniversary for my liver transplant. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sue, and congratulations on your 5-year anniversary. That's amazing. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for being part of this virtual program tonight as we, in our own way, kick off this weekend of events for the Transplant Games of America. To Sue, Rick, Lauren, Edith, Kai, and I'm with you, your unsung hero, Mother Mindy. We are so pleased that you all make up Team Richie. He is rooting you on and can't wait to see how the team ends up by the end of the week's events. And I just wanted to say that we, as many of you also said, that this virtual component is not anyone's ideal format. And we recognize that this past year and a half has been anything but easy on everyone, but especially on transplant recipients and transplant donors. And so we thank you for your continued positive attitude, your resilience, and those are really the characteristics that made Richie so unique and so special. And so in each of your own individual ways, you are keeping Richie's spirit alive and our foundation's work alive through this year and hopefully many years to come. So if you're seeing these beautiful green Team Richie hats and you're like, I need to get one, you can go on our website and drop us an email to order one. Also, this work that we do is only made possible by donors like you. So if you're able to, you can go onto the website to make a donation, which will help us continue to support events like the Transplant Games of America and spread the word about organ donation year-round across the country. So with that, I want to thank our presenters, our athletes who make up Team Richie, and we'll see you at the games. Have a great night.